And that's the 25th.
Yeah.
I don't think I have it.
So we are now recording, guys, just so that you remember that, okay?
So I can dirty up my language now?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So our speaker tonight is Carolyn Herbert. She's got 38 years of experience in education, so she fits in with a lot of the members of this group. Most of it within the Special Education Administration. She's worked closely with the academics as well as life survival skills. When she retired and moved to Palmyra, she saw a great need to help struggling adults who may have also had trouble with the law. This led her to trying to make a difference in the lives of those who would otherwise be cast aside upon re-entry to the population. With that in mind, and a disproportionate homelessness and suicide rate among this group, it was time to do something. She started thinking of a few men in this situation and began a business from the employee up that would at least give them a second start. Wine jelly it was. With 2 pots in the stove, she began developing a method to remove the alcohol, get approved by the Department of Agriculture, ABC, and Virginia's Finance. All profits pay the employees. This is much more of a mission, and the owners do not receive any money or compensation from the company. She is not a nonprofit, as she hopes to have this become a family tradition and not disappear if the board of directors were in charge. I was going to read what you read at the bottom.
Oh, well, if you want to go ahead.
She said, I may have become wordy, but I was a teacher and can't help it sometimes. It sums up my history and the rationale for this passion. I have almost every family, I believe almost every family could cite some mental health struggles in some part of their family. Amen to that. Thank you again for the opportunity. I'll give you Carolyn Herbert.
The rest of that story is when I moved to Palmyra, I brought my mother up here. We had a friend that had I'd grown up across the street from this family. They were here. And my mother had put one too many potatoes in the dishwasher, if you know what I mean. And it was time to move her out of her own home and in with me at 93. So we came up here and had the opportunity to just kind of get to know the place again. My kids grew up coming up here every summer to family and friends, so that was a piece of it. And when Mother got here, she said, "Wow, look at this wine country. I need wine for breakfast, lunch, and dinner." Well, at 93 and not real sure of what she's doing, of course she's going to get what she wants, right? So I already made her homemade bread, and what would go on the bread but wine jelly. So a member in our family ended up having some difficulty. He actually has multiple personalities. He is actually 3 unique people, and was afraid to say too much, so it was pretty much undiagnosed, if you will. I mean, I think he knew it, but never quite had the right meds. Found himself in some trouble, and we all knew that when he was incarcerated, if he were to survive that event, he would need something to come home to. And I don't believe in something for nothing. So we started this kind of going to craft shows and things like that to get us started. Then we realized that you had to have the alcohol content in any food item at a non-alcohol level, and cooking only removes 10% of it. So please don't think that you're really taking all the alcohol out. So if you are, or somebody is AA and trying not to drink, please don't cook with it, because they really are still getting a good bit of alcohol. Just thought I'd pass that on for a little tidbit of information there. So anyway, it took us about 6 months to come up with it. I had a friend of ours whose son also had some mental health issues that led him into incarceration for a short period of time. He had come out, become a professional chef, and still couldn't really get it together. He was bipolar, he had some issues of just obtaining and maintaining jobs. So we got together and said, well, let's make this something. So here we are. We decided to keep our mission kind of towards the felons, or those that have mental health issues that have not had a lot of success in their lives. So we're more equal opportunity in that one. In special ed, I dealt with mostly the emotionally disturbed group, so that was kind of my passion there as well. So now I deal with, I have 10 adults. The young men that I have been able to work with, most of them have actually been referred to me by the state police. and actually from the inside out. So we offer 4 products, and each of those 4 were created inside prison. They've never tasted their own products, which is really kind of interesting. A couple of them are ready to come home. But they've worked with our chef, they've worked with their families. We've done the tasting, we've done the kind of battering it back and forth. They came up with the ideas. I sent them how to do the nutrition labels by hand. They had to do all of the other work. My cousin moved here to help our cause, and he just happened to be a graphic designer who thought my jars were really tacky looking the first year, and said, "I think you need me." And I said, "Oh yeah, yeah." So he ended up moving down, and with that, they work with him to design their packaging. They work with them on the pricing. What is the size? What is the cost? When are we going to run a sale? And I make them do all of that even before they're home. When they come home, they can either take their product and their money, because I have put the profit from their item in an envelope for them as startup money for them when they come home. So they can either take their money and run with their product or not. That's up to them. It really is their creation. So it's theirs if they want it, or they can stick with us, and we try to do as much marketing, etc., as we can. We have 2 of them are in the halfway house right now, which is great, because my jelly guy is outside already. My herb dip guy is going to be home in May, and my peanut butter pat is going to be home in December, and I cannot wait because I do not want to make any more peanut butter. But we make a variety of products, and one of the things that we do is we have our cards, but we have recipes for them. So jelly is not jelly anymore. You know, it's a great grilling. I'm just going to pass these out over here. But it's a great thing for grilling because, you know, orange pineapple Chardonnay on some chicken. My grandson will eat. Even Brussels sprouts. I don't even like Brussels sprouts, but he'll eat Brussels sprouts if it has some orange pineapple Chardonnay or some mango Moscato or something like that on it. And because there's less than 0.1% alcohol in it, it's fine for kids. But you can see how we've tried to develop. The kids, I sent each of the gentlemen that created their products, I sent them a cookbook and said, here, come up with some ideas on how you can transfer some of your products into the products that are already in recipes, change it significantly 3 ways, because that's the legal requirement, it has to be changed 3 ways, and, you know, send it back. So we have a ton of recipes on there. So these guys are now on the inside, they have a goal, they have a life, they know they're coming home, and generally, like, peanut butter pat did really well, and I just can't say peanut butter without putting the pat on the end of it, sorry, but, you know, you kind of get used to it. But one of the things that, peanut butter pat, he had $550 in his envelope when he came, he actually started getting some of it in the halfway house because they actually have to pay for their rooms and such. So anyway, he started collecting some of his, so he has the opportunity to pay his way, even there at the halfway house. So I have learned a lot about the jail systems. I've learned a lot about things I never thought I would know about or really even want to know about. And we believe in having a good time through all of it. So one of the things that we've done is we all have t-shirts that kind of say our mission, and that is out of a jam and into jelly. So the guys are, you know, some of them are still in the jam, but they're still doing the jelly-ish, you know. We have been able to go to a number of places. We are now in the Library of Congress in DC. We have our Cherry Cherry for the Cherry Blossom Festival. In there, we have, we're in all the Harris Teeters in Virginia, 70 stores. We're in some Food Lions, and we're in a number of vineyards around the state, and I do private labels for them. I also do beer jelly, so I'm actually in a couple of breweries. And we have lager and stout that are our main 2 beer jellies. And my son that lives in Massachusetts does take a peanut butter and beer sandwich to work every day. And being a little OCD, he's going to take the same thing every day forever. So he's definitely hooked on the beer jellies. But we make it fun. You know, it's all about enabling them to have success when they come out. So I have been totally, well, I'm totally exhausted. But until they all get home, you know, we're working a lot harder around the clock. However, just when they'll call or they'll email, or if I'm having a big show, if I'm going to a show in DC, or in a couple of weeks I'm going to Raleigh and Richmond, and so when I go to those shows, I get an email from them, so it's like I have a fan club. It's just that all my fan club happens to be at Petersburg Glow. But you know, you get your fan clubs where you can. You know, you just do what you can. But I think that one of the things that has been amazing, of course, being in education, I knew nothing about business. Absolutely nothing. So I have taken this and just kind of, you know, made more mistakes than I did anything else. But I think that with the idea that these young men now have a second chance, these are guys that couldn't make it before. They ended up in trouble. You think they're going to make it now? You know, absolutely not. They want to be contributing to the society again. They want to be good members. They want to come back and become the dads and the all that they, you know, either were or want to be, and all. And for them to come back and be able to start that is truly rewarding. It really is for these guys. A couple of my guys happen to be sex offenders, but when you realize that one of them happened to pee in a national park, and that makes you a sex offender, you're on the registry for 25 years. So don't ever get caught doing it.
Is that just because you peed in a national park? Or
Yeah, well, actually, yes. Yes, you're not allowed to because
national park.
a national park. Yeah, now, so if you go camping in a national park, I don't see all these little porta potties sitting around by every tree for the bears to use.
Do they
So-
ask the bears?
I don't think so. I have not seen a bear at the Petersburg Glow at all. But you know, I have a gentleman that works for me who is 53 years old, and when he was 18, his 17-and-a-half-year-old girlfriend became pregnant. Mama yelled rape, and he is on the sex offender list for life.
We elect ours to the Virginia Senate.
Yes, exactly. But this was also in Virginia. So it's, I have a woman that works for me who is also on the sex offender registry. Her son was mad at her and accused her of touching him. And before the trial, he reneged it. And they said, okay, well, you don't have to serve time, but because it was, you know, we came to you and you were arrested for this, you're on the registry for 25 years. So she is on the registry. So she was a teacher. She lost that job. She can't find a job anywhere.
She's an Alfred plea or something?
She did not take an Alfred because he had, you know.
Even if they drop the check, that seems like
Crazy. So
seems like she might have needed a better attorney.
she needed a much better attorney and is now in the process of getting.
There's no reason that wouldn't have been expunged and or just not happen at all.
And she's been 4 years fighting it, but I think she's very, very close to having that solved.
Wow.
But you know, the legal system only works quickly for some.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. So, working with this population, though, I just find that, you know, these are guys that don't think anybody's ever going to give them a chance. We have at our meetings, of course, we don't have many meetings because they're all incarcerated, or many of them are still incarcerated. But we have a Christian psychologist who actually will be attending our meetings, who is a felon, so they can relate to them. You know, felons are not allowed to ever see the people that they knew, other felons. Again, they can never socialize with a felon. So here, you know, you live with somebody 24/7 for 5, 10, 15 years, and you're not allowed to even see them again. Because two felons together, of course, are going to, you know, murder somebody. Of course they will. That's the logic. But because I have a company, and the State Department and the state police are very much involved, we can have all the meetings we want to. So, although most of them will be working from their own homes, one is our chef lives in Powhatan on a big farm, and he has a commercial kitchen out there. So he actually does all the jelly for us. We will have a place in Richmond. We have a church that has volunteered their kitchen in Richmond. So we have our hot cocoa there. We have, we will have, when we have the opportunity, we will have a place in Fredericksburg for peanut butter pat. And they have what used to be an old store on their property, on their acreage, and they can turn that back into a kitchen without a problem. And then we just learned that Lauren over at the preschool center, right over across the street, is going to let me use it, so we can continue to do the herb dips and things like that here. So
Fluvanna also has a commercial kitchen.
yes, and they want money.
Yeah, but it's not, it's like $35 an hour. It's
Yeah, but free is better.
free is good, I'm just saying.
And I
Why
appreciate
didn't you think of that?
You guys thought that was unfair.
So, no, I appreciate that much. I have been sort of watching it, you know. For us, to be honest with you, we looked at the commercial kitchen in Richmond when we started because Fluvanna didn't have one, or even the thought of it that we knew of. And we have to give them an hour at the front end, an hour at the back end, and then you cook. So if I'm going to put in an 8-hour day, that adds up pretty quickly, and I'm not going to have any profit.
Was that Melissa's kitchen?
Yes. Yep. So I'm not trying to negate it.
No.
I'm not trying to negate it at all, but
recommend you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I didn't mean to snap that way, but I did research that for that. Yeah. And because all of our profits pretty much go back to the guys, we work on a shoestring. You know, we definitely have a shoestring budget there. You know, I mean, I know Peter Butter Pat, I know he's got, you know, $550, and that sounds great, but that's 2 years of selling. So that's not a living. That's not a living. So we're looking now to expand. We're looking to get some additional equipment, because right now the only thing I have is a torque tightener, a jar tightener, because I couldn't tighten them myself without them popping. So that's the one piece of equipment we have, but everything else is done by hand. The labeling, all the little stickering, and all of that is done by hand. I employ my grandchildren. My grandson is enjoying more Fortnite these days because he is able to earn money to buy his little outfits, or I don't know what they call them, but anyway, you know, but they do earn what they get. Again, we don't do handouts in our family. We never got them, so, you know. But, so it's been kind of a real mission for us. We're excited about the guys. We've expanded from there a little bit into a second business, which is a nonprofit, which will be called New Day, New Life. And I say which will be. It's actually online, but it doesn't have anything in it yet. But it's a prison art. So we're going to be collecting works of art from prisoners and being able to sell them in a safe, secure manner. So if somebody wanted to buy something that they had made, it's a safe, secure place to do it. We wanted to pull in as many guys as we possibly could. So that is another way that, and girls, I mean, not all guys, but you know, anybody who wants to. My purse was a present from one of those guys, and he does not have a machine. This is all hand done. So this is the quality of the work that's coming out of there. And I think that, you know, he can make some money when he gets out. He's going to Arizona, but doesn't mean he can't make money there. Doesn't mean he can't sell it online with us and be able to.
How do you get the materials?
They are allowed some craft materials, so they can order every so often. About every 6 weeks they're allowed to order. No order can be over $200. So when you're looking for leather, you know, it's difficult to get everything. So it takes him about 3 months to acquire enough materials to make something of, you know, something substantial. He made a computer bag a work bag for my cousin, for everything that my cousin had done for him and such. And he, see, I have a great fan club. Isn't that great? They make purses for me. They make things for my cousin. I said, you know, hey, I'm really, really blessed to have these guys in my life too. You know, I think all of us have done something that we regret. Some people may have even done things that if they'd gotten caught, they'd be in trouble too. I know I'm one of those, so I figured other people are too.
I peed in a national park.
Those sound like great ideas.
But there's no signs posted, don't pee in the park.
No, you just need to know that.
Right, of course.
I mean, they don't put up, don't rape the next person that walks by you either, but, you know, some people do that, you know? But there's a mandatory minimum if you do something like that, or if you look at a picture online of a 17-year-old as opposed to an 18-year-old. If, you know, I mean, I don't mean to be ugly, but, you know, I get all kinds of emails that are asking me to enhance my mail cards, and I didn't even know I had mail cards. In fact, I'm 65 years old. I'm pretty sure I don't have mail cards by now, you know? If I'm gonna get them, that would have been happening a long time ago. So, you know, if they do that and somebody clicks it, you click it one time, and do you know that not all of them show the actual picture that is coming up? There's a screen in front of it. And there was a sting by the federal government that was going around the college campuses, primarily. And you would click on something and open it up, and you wouldn't see that it was wrong. You know, it's just like an advertisement. And if you clicked it a second time to read anything about it, you were caught, because the back screen was a 7-year-old in a pornography video.
Ask you something more
Absolutely.
about your business. You have a very interesting business, but I don't really understand how it works. Now, you say your products are available on Amazon.
Yes.
And stores throughout Virginia.
Right.
You say you're working with 10 people who either have been or presently incarcerated.
Right.
How do you develop inventory for businesses like that with that small
that's
number?
A really great question. I have a husband. I have a daughter-in-law. I have a cousin. I have me. And
So you work your family to death.
yeah, we do. Yep. Yep. And one day, but we're reaping the reward of these guys emailing, just being so pleased. The guards that, you know, will sit down and talk to them about their business. And then one day I will really retire and watch them be little buzzing bees around. But for right now, we're doing okay. I mean,
So you think the business is sustainable?
Yes. Yes, our jelly guy, we are now pulling in a minimum of 75 cases a week. Not that that's fantastic but for a small business, it's not bad. So I'm getting, you know, 75 cases from him. We had run up the peanut butter inventory quite well, and I stopped taking it to shows, so I don't have to do it as much. So you can still get it online, and you can still get it in some of the stores and stuff, but my wrist doesn't do the peanut butter so well. We do have 2 other people that are out, and they will come to Powhatan, and we'll work for a whole day together. We will, you know, sit there. They'll have a table, and somebody will be filling the herb dip packages, and somebody's filling the hot chocolate, and, you know, it's like a little party. But it's
The best feature is it's a consumable, so you get a repeat business,
Right.
so it's almost a pyramiding effect.
Exactly.
You're layering new customers on top
Exactly.
of existing customers, and it just
Yes, and when
keeps
somebody
going.
says, how do I get involved? What can I do? You know, I want to work for you. And I say, okay, what do you want to do? I'm sorry, I'm just a boss. I'm not a boss. You know, I just happen to be the owner, and I'll kind of run things because I am kind of bossy. I'm a Taurus for a good reason. But, you know, basically it's, well, what do you want to do? You know, when Pat first came to me and said, I really want to be part of this company, I said, okay, so what are you going to make? What are you going to do? He said, I don't know, you know, I always liked it when they had the peanut butter and the jelly swirled in the same jar. I said, okay, we'll take peanut butter, go for it. And he did. He has 4 new flavors that he will start as soon as he gets out. He can do it, but for right now, I do the chocolate caramel, the marshmallow, and the banana for him. So, one of the other guys that's out is much stronger than I am, so he gets the peanut butter out of the jars, and then we go from there. But, you know, I mean, it's very labor intensive right now, but it is a mission, it's a passion. These guys have a life now, and I don't think there's anything better than giving people hope. You know, these people had mental health issues before. They couldn't maintain a job before they got in trouble. There's no way that some of these people will ever have any kind of success. And if you don't have hope, and if you don't have some kind of faith that there is something out there for you, then you don't really have a life. You have no quality to your life.
What's your biggest obstacle to scaling?
Pardon?
What's your biggest obstacle to scaling? I mean, clearly there's a capital issue, right? If you're if you don't have a professional kitchen, then like
right.
You're
Well,
really
we do in
sort of-
Powhatan,
Right.
so we can all huddle down there, and kind of spread out, and then we kind of all come together. I have one guy that's just a driver, you know, so he kind of brings everything back, and my kids and I do the my grandkids and I do the labeling at the house
So
and
what's
distribute from
the
the house.
one thing, if somebody came up and said, we wanted to help your company, what's the one thing you would need most in order to sort of help scale this, make it both more lucrative for you and for the guests?
I do believe it would be not just a kitchen, but an actual facility that I could store all my things in, and I didn't have to carry things in, carry things out. It would really be a facility, a building. Right now, what I really need is to help, you know, I have, everything is by hand, and like I said, the only machine I have is the torque, it'll, you know, torque the jars shut. But if I could have a labeling machine that, you know, stamped the batch number on it, or something like that, it would speed up so much. The other thing is, you know, we hire based on the number of jars we sell. So getting the word out that we are a company and that we're, you know, doing the best to you know, get out there, do our thing. The more we sell, the more I can hire. And that's, you know, I'm not a business person, so I'm not very good at some of those things. Our friends that just moved up here from Florida, one of the reasons they moved up is the husband had spent 40 years in marketing, and he wanted to come up and help me with marketing. So there's some marketing things that I desperately need to be able to afford.
Right.
You know, things like that. So yes, money is definitely an issue, but I'm really, the biggest thing is...
Right, driving demand so that you can
Yes,
fill orders and
Right.
scale organically.
exactly.
And what's what do the sales revenue numbers look like over time? I don't know if I can ask that, I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know.
That
why
may
not?
be very, that might have been weird, but
No,
what's your trajectory like?
I'm breaking even. I broke even this year, and I broke even last year. I'm bringing in, this past year, I was right about 70,000. Bringing in, but it also was that in,
Sure, yeah, that's,
you know,
that's
but of course,
total
a
amount.
little bit goes into the,
Yeah.
you know, for the kids, but other thing, you know, some of the bigger shows that we've done have been kind of expensive, like $1,000 a pop. Some of the conventions that we, yeah. However, that's how we landed in Library of Congress. That's how I met Wolfgang Puck. And Wolfgang actually took a jar of our jelly to use. I haven't heard back, but, you know, it was nice to be able to give it to him. That was kind of fun. You know, little things that add up. The vineyards that are coming on board now. Right now I have 7, but I have 5 more that we've shaken hands on. So, again, the private labels and knowing about it, and knowing that, see, one of the things with the vineyards, which is kind of a bad thing, is a lot of the vineyards made their own jelly, but then when ABC, because I went through everything legal because I'm working with felons and I don't want to be illegal on the first little scunch, ABC realized that they were making their own jellies, and I'm the only one that was then approved by ABC, but they were approved by the Department of Agriculture, but Agriculture didn't know the ABC laws. So they went around and then told the vineyards that they couldn't make jelly anymore. So I wasn't the most popular person. You know, it wasn't like, hey, you just got in trouble and don't you want mine now? Meet with them this week at a regional meeting, so we're really excited. They wanted to do some things. They go into prison, so they're also going to be going in to look for artists who are on the inside that we can then transfer into helping them get something. And the only thing that we would collect from them is a 3% residual to help pay for the website. We're not looking, I mean, that's a nonprofit, so we are definitely not looking to do, we're not in this for the money. I've been poor all my life. Why do something different now, I was in education before. You all know what that's like, so, but really, and I'm afraid of getting too big too fast.
No.
Because my biggest thing is, my younger son will take over the business if anything were to happen. My older son is absolutely not taking over the business.
Jeff Bezos says that to himself all the time. He's afraid of too big too fast.
Well, I wouldn't mind, Smucker's was looking at our website a couple of times, because we do the account thing, and it's like, ooh, maybe they'll make us an offer. We never heard back, but they were at least looking at us, so, it's kind of interesting where it goes. It's kind of fun. It's nice to dream. And, that's kind of where we are.
Just watch their inventory.
Yes.
You may get paid pretty well if they manage to, change 2 and not 3 ingredients.
Correct. We do not tell people how we get the wine alcohol out. It cannot be patented because it's a process and not an actual mechanical something. Even the intellectual piece. So
Really?
my attorney had said, yeah. I mean, we went through. We're trademarked. We've done all of the good stuff. See, I have a little TM right there. Although then later I found out it's supposed to be an R. So although my certificate says trademark, I'm supposed to have an R right there. So these are older shirts.
We won't tell anyone.
So
Well, you're on video though.
I know, but I can't help it. Sorry, I just tend to be out there.
Quick, turn off the video.
I can't worry about things like that. That's just not my thing. So, are there any other questions? Because I don't, I mean, it's a big conglomeration of things that we do.
I was going to ask
Yes.
if you thought of partnering with a winery to use their labeling equipment in the off season, but you're not the best partnership with.
Not with all of
wineries.
them. No, there are a few that.
But I mean, they've got the equipment.
They do. They do.
So if they're not using it during that part of the
Right.
year, you could
But I need it every
do some
day
runs. Oh.
And they're
because I'm
probably
getting
like a
my.
cup.
Yeah, and well, I do get some of the wine from them when
Well,
they have
that
a
could
thing
be
that
a wine
doesn't.
for labeling.
That doesn't, set quite right, and they're, almost every winery has that, so I do have access to some wines sometimes. But when I do a private label, I use their wines anyway.
Yeah.
But, so it is a unique flavor to theirs, but the recipe itself is still, I still remove the alcohol the same way I would any other one. We have expanded to Texas. I met a man whose church also had a mission to deal with guys when they were released, and they have started something in Dallas. So we do have a licensure program, but they are required under the licensure to hire a minimum of 60% felons by the end of the 3rd year. So we are keeping this for people who really need that second chance. So we are starting a GoFundMe page thanks to Catholic Charity, so I'll send that on to Rudy just in case anybody wants to at least look at it, because again, our goal is to we want to help improve the brand. We want to make sure people know the brand. We need to, take your prayers. If that's all that you want to share, that's fine. We'll gladly take the prayers.